Well, I'd define insecurity as a feeling of being really unsafe. So people that feel really unsafe and insecure, they see a challenge in front of them in a domain of their life that they feel like they don't have the skills and strengths to meet, or they don't have access to the resources. And those resources could be skills and strengths, but they could also be social networks and people that can help you take on those challenges.
Insecurity is the fear of not being good enough. It's the opposite of being secure, confident, assured, relaxed. It's feeling as though you are inadequate, that you are not up to the challenge. I think we all face it. I think it's a universal fear.
Oh, the next keto diet, the next thing up, I've got to do that and that will solve it. Or I've just got to go to the gym and exercise more and push myself more. And it's coming from this place of self-hatred, of loathing, of punishment, of deprivation, and restricting themselves. And no one likes to be treated that way. No relationship will flourish that way. And so they're relating to themselves in such an unloving way. They're talking to themselves in such an unloving way. They're avoiding their emotions like the plague, which is sending them back then to eating and putting on the weight again. And so they're just stuck in this hamster wheel cycle where they're doing so much work, trying so hard, and not getting anywhere. And it just sends them lower and lower into this loathing.
My greatest opponent was actually not what others were saying about me, nor what had happened to me. It was actually the thought I'd had about myself. What happened and what did I make it mean about me had driven this raft of anxiety and fear, so much fear, grounded in I'm not enough. Everything comes back to I'm not enough.
Insecurity is a massive problem when it comes to dealing with money, and generally you can teach people how to do a budget and all the rest of it, but if you don't feel secure in yourself to be able to create wealth for yourself, you'll get to that point where you'll just begin to sabotage. And it's really interesting because you'll hear about people winning tax lotto or inheriting money and then they lose it straight away. So it's not the tools, as the tools are important, but it's who you are and your own self-belief and your own worthiness.
I was a victim of it myself. I see it in clients, I see it in other people, where you think that by trying to fulfill that need externally via a holiday, a car, a house, some form of external status, that's the answer. But I see it time and time again where people get that external thing and then it doesn't last very long, and then they got to look for the next thing, and if left unchecked, they then lose character, they then lose depth, they sell themselves out to chasing the next thing and the next thing, versus someone who, I've seen some people who are incredibly humble, who have enormous material wealth, and it doesn't define them. They see that as a bonus and a fruit for all of the other good things that they're doing.
For me, anxiety has been really prominent in my life, to the point where I can see through my 20s, I'm now 37, into my 30s, into my parenthood, my relationships, it has massively held me back. And, I don't want to be the 80-year-old looking back and going, my life was just a jumbled mess. There's just bits and pieces. I can't really piece together a meaning, a purpose. I would like to look back and go, I had something that just came together and it was beautiful and it was purposeful and there was meaning to this life that I created.
It's robbed me of some of the fruit of life. Some of the things that I really wanted to be able to do, I'd allowed my insecurity to hold me back and not participate in the game. So I became an observer rather than a player.
Negative information is 3 times more powerful than positive information. So we go about our days always focused on what could hurt and harm us rather than what could support and enable us. So that's the negativity bias. One way to overcome that is just firstly to be aware of it. Be aware of the amount of negative information that you look out for in the environment, whether you watch the news, which is overly negative, but start to focus more on what's positive is certainly a good strategy.
This negativity bias that we're born with causes us to tell negative stories about painful moments and attach that negativity to our own identity, which gets inside us and becomes our truth. That story then shows up as insecurity and limits us everywhere. It's like this handbrake inside which holds us back from life, it holds us back from love, it holds us back from finances, it holds us back from health, and ultimately it destroys us. If we don't find a way to deal with insecurity, I think it leads to madness. It actually creates mental instability. because it eats you alive. This constant obsession with, am I good enough? I need to prove that I am worthwhile, that I have value, that I am loved, that I am worthy. This constant obsession to get that from your world because you don't believe it yourself. And it's never satisfied, because even if someone does validate you, the moment they're gone, you doubt it and move on.
Insecurity has been one of the major markers for holding me back, for not really allowing me to step out and go forward.
I'm not just the actor in the story, I am the storyteller. That, to me, that is so incredibly powerful, because once you get that, for me, once that landed, I'm like, all right, well, I'm no longer, because I guess at first you think, okay, well, there's some people in the world who deal with insecurity really well. Well, they don't label it that. They just go, well, some people get through life really well and they'll back themselves, and there are others who don't. And I probably thought that, geez, it'd be nice to be those people who back themselves, but, that's not the lot I've been given. And then when I realised that I am able to change that, I'm in control, I can change the narrative here, I can drive the story, and realise that that's going to make an enormous difference to me. It has transformed my life. My life since learning that has been infinitely better.
People imagine their problems are really complicated and unique. The cool thing is that's never the case. We all go through the same kind of challenges, just in different ways, and the way forward is just simple and hard. There is a framework. There are tried and tested practices for overcoming insecurity. It is hard work, but it is good work. There is a way to show up to life unhindered, free from the internal limitations of doubt, fear and insecurity, so that you are able to be at your best where it matters most.